Chola, the right hand is on the Nandi and this hand is like this. Even that our guys did not realize. The guys who commissioned this, I think he was paying 2 lakh rupees or so to make this. They did not even know that iconography is all wrong. And not only that, for every temple if you see, it is the same. So if this joker had even referred any book or any temple, he would have got. So finally this is what happened. So this is the IFE photograph which we secured. In fact, we published this in June 2013. And the police physically visited the IFP to take a photograph copy in December 2013. So it took 6 months for the police to move from Chennai to Pondicherry to get a photograph. But finally, thanks to the press in Australia, thanks to friends in Australia, despite the lack of support from India, the authorities, they were publicly embarrassed and shamed that the Prime Minister of Australia, Abbott, personally returned the Ardhanari sometime a couple of months away. So this is the entire chain. Now, how difficult is this? And this is the size of the bin cards in the IFP Pondicherry. So if you go there, they'll have a old wooden antique box with these bin cards. And that's the size of the photograph that you have. So you'll have to run through say 6,000 Natarajas to come up with one, and then you'll have to tell them, these are possible matches, give me the original photograph, then they'll go to their slide deck, take the hard copy and then pull it up for you. So that's how difficult it is. In fact, we are asking a lot of them to digitize it and give it to people like us, which they decline because I'm not an art historian, I'm not educationally qualified for this. But now at least, thanks to media, we have access to such photographs. Why we need these photographs? So we'll go. So this is the Natarajan. The funny thing happened when the press first came out, the police first came out, the news, they said, we have found the Suttamali Nataraja. It is in Australia. Now, Suttamali is here, Sri Prandan is here. It's very, very simple for you to see. The Prabhas are very, very different. The Jada is very, very different. It's actually the Sri Prandan Nataraja that was in Australia. And this is the first and foremost. If we had gone with the claim that this is the Suttamali Nataraja, they would have put it back on your face. So, there are multiple fake provenances. But the then creator of the National Gallery of Australia said, there are thousands of Natarajas, each of them see are unique. I do not accept the claim that this is the same. The photograph is very grainy. You are quoted. So we led a YouTube campaign. And what we put in YouTube is what you're going to see. So what we did, we matched every crack, every breakage. If you notice, there is a small cut here. Every piece, we had somebody go down into Canberra to take a 20 MB photograph. We went to the French Institute, got them to give us exact matching. So you have, faced with this proof, there was no choice. They could not refute India's claim. What's interesting in this that I'd like you to focus on after, of course, this matching is there exist cell phone photographs of the, we call it the robber photograph. This was immediately after it was looted, moved to a safe house. Obviously this doesn't look like New York or Australia. Somewhere in Nanganallur, I think. But what you have to see is the color of the Nataraja. He is in his bronze state. But when he went to Australia, he's turned green. So what happened when we tracked the shipment information? The shipment was from Chennai through LCL. LCL, shipping guys will know. It was not a full container, it was less than container load, shipped through a consolidator. It didn't go to America, it didn't go to Australia, it went to Hong Kong. And we know the person who it was consigned to. In fact, she was named in the first information report. And from Hong Kong, it didn't go to New York. It went to a very world-renowned restorer in London, who was also named in the first information report. But when the case was actually filed, those two names are not there anymore. So, what's happened now is this patina is actually turning greener by the day. any metallurgical experts here, I think should advise the government. I'm not sure if it's right for the Nataraja to be left to this artificial patina that's happening. So that's the Nataraja from the IFP. Again, over multiple years they had photographed the empty shrine with the villager praying in the Nanganallur house. It's just a joke. In Australia, in the gallery, and then the Australian press. They were absolutely helpful. Every 2 weeks we had a front cover, putting pressure in Australia when our own magazines refused to carry it. Our own publishers refused to carry it. When it came back, of course, everybody claimed, everybody had front page news, and we had Tony Abbott and Modi Saab posing again. In the crate, finally he was taken back to the village. He was ceremonially kept in his sanctum and taken back to the safe deposit locker. It defies me. We have excellent photographs of this bronze. In his lifetime, as long as computers, internet and digital photography live, nobody can touch this bronze. Because you can actually leave it on the road, nobody's going to take it. I don't know why he has to go back to a safe deposit locker. What is important is he came back. What is important is he came back. Why it's important to get these back? One, it creates a strong precedence. In their lifetime, no curator in Australia is going to touch an Indian artifact with a shady provenance, because they bought it for $5.1 million and they returned it for free. So all they got was a handshake. The $5.1 million now is what? 35 crores? Chardnari was cheaper, $700,000. What's so interesting is the current accused who was arrested by an Interpol ex-colon notice in Germany and brought back is only a small fly. The bigger fly was arrested in 2002 in Jaipur. Pamangia, he is accused, he's under trial. The sad part was BBC did a sting operation in 1998 and did a 1 hour on Italian artifact smuggling, which caused such a revolt that Sotheby's had to close down their UK office. Italy came up with its own Carbonary Art Squad, which is a 3,000 people squad, and they have got back more than 35,000 Italian artifacts as a direct follow-up of this program. There's an internationally bestseller called Sotheby's The Inside Story. Vaman actually used to have Sotheby's representatives visit his house, stay with him, and they used to go on guided tours picking objects for loot. And when they arrested him, by the time they could get in, they found about 300 Sotheby's catalogs being burnt and about 1,000 photographs charred remains. By the time the police could force themselves inside. And in some of the godowns of his associates, they seized 900 works of art in Delhi in various places, of which 600 were certified by ASI as antiques. But in the early part of this year, he was acquitted by the Rajasthan High Court because not one of the so-called 10,000 pieces he has sold via Sotheby's ever came back to India. And the person who actually hid in his cupboard is one of these gentlemen. He runs an art shop in London, even today dealing in Indian antiquities. That doesn't stop there. CAG, everybody, when I say CAG, everybody thinks about the more famous report. CAG did an audit report on ASI. He published it. It's available on the internet. Please go and download. It's quite a startling one, and what they are saying is very important. From 76 to 2001, 19 antiquities have been restituted. But after 2001, ASI has not been able to achieve any success. Well, if you read the report, it's more damning. 36 ASI sites themselves have been gone missing.
Sites, sir.
Actual archaeological sites cannot be found. Anyway, that's a long story. Now, what's more interesting now, we go into this. I have another friend in the US. So my favorite pastime now is every day in the evening, I have this to-spot list, like to-do list, to find list. And we have a Facebook group for bronzes, we have a Facebook group for stone. And Facebook is an excellent tool. Without any payment, for a few likes, I can collect the entire database of temples and museum sculptures world over. So one of my friends actually sent me a Ganesha photograph. And the Toledo Museum Ganesha was vaguely familiar. But the joke is, when the Idle Wing published their photograph, this was actually reversed because it's a transparency. So we actually got it corrected. And he went and took a high resolution photograph. And we wrote to Toledo Museum saying that you have a stolen Nataraja, no stolen Ganesha. And they said, who are you? But then, because they are in the US, they were scared. They did not reply to us. But apparently they did something which is even more shocking. And because Toledo is a sister city of Coimbatore, we started a Facebook campaign saying, remove Toledo as a sister city of Coimbatore, you have a stolen Ganesha. So all this was going in the background, there was tremendous media pressure. And what was, so we did another YouTube campaign. So we matched. So the best part is this Ganesha, he had a small blemish. I'll just skip all these and go right to the blemish. So if you look at the trunk, this is from the original French Institute photograph. You see those two marks? They are still there. So this is my friend Ravi in the US. Again, because of IT software, any city in the US, you have somebody there in Facebook. So he went and took this photograph and we managed to match these two. So that is proof right in front of you. But then we identified this in July 2013, 1.5 years ago, obviously given to all authorities. What's funny was, because of the pressure we were creating, in December of last year, Toledo Museum put up a notice. I know it's very difficult. They wrote to the Indian consulate saying, somebody is telling me I have a stolen bronze, can you help me? They did not receive a reply for 3 months. Then they wrote to the Indian ambassador. And then no reply for 3 months. So finally they put these two letters on the internet in their page itself. Till date, the Ganesha is still there. Not only that, our great generous, the accused, has given all these items, a total of 244 terracotta pieces, and that list goes, as gifts to Toledo Museum. Not only that, another $500,000 of gift in the name of his honorary father. And why I say that, to the end of this lecture you will know. So what happened was, when I was doing all this, I had a friend in the US who was a librarian, and she, in all her expertise on India, she's probably visited more sites than the collective wisdom of 10 room of such people of India. And she said, I'll help you. She went and took out all the advertisements published by this gallery in the last 10 years from her collection and sent me. So I bought the courier pouch back home, and wife was like, more papers. So I was scared she's going to throw away the papers. So I patiently put all the papers and taking photographs. So at least digital copy will remain. I threw this and I was like, oh, because she was in Singapore, and for some strange reason I was there when she was displayed as the first acquisition in 2006, and I had written a blog on her saying she came to life, I became metal on seeing her. And for some other reason, every 3 months I would go there. As I say, I would stand there. For some reason I would just stand there, to such an extent that I got it painted by an artist and hung it on my bedroom, and she would refuse to go from memory. Now in hindsight, I know, because she is someone. Maybe she wanted to go home. There she is in Singapore. Again the story, June 2013. The media pressure, the Singapore ACM, Nations Event, took her out of display in December. But 3 months ago, because the Indian government did not do anything, she is back on display. Not only that, because of the work with my friend in the US, who's an investigative journalist called Jason French, who wrote this world-acclaimed book called Chasing Aphrodite, we also know that the museum purchased all these artifacts with dubious provenances. And these three are very important. I'm not sure anybody will know about them, but this is the greatest loss to Indian civilization. It's a fantastic site in West Bengal. It has been plundered. I personally know about 10,000 pieces, such terracotta pieces, have been shipped out of India. What's more funnier is the case of this Buddha. This is a Chola period Buddha from Nagapattinam. Nagapattinam Buddha Vihara is a great point of discussion for Ponniyin Selvan fans. And this Buddha is about life size. And he would weigh at least 5 tons. And sometime in 2009, the Hindu carried an article saying, due to the diligent work of our idol wing, this sculpture which was marked for theft has been saved. But I knew that this was already in the US for the last 2 years. And it was in the catalogue. Not only that, he was brought to Singapore and exhibited as part of the Nalanda Trail on loan. And the Nalanda Trail was opened by the then Honorable Prime Minister of India, Dr. Manmohan Singh. And later they published another catalogue saying exhibited in the Nalanda Trail, which goes back to a good provenance. This Buddha is seized and kept in the US for the last 2 years. The US authorities want to give it because it is occupying too much space. But they don't know who to give it to. Being in Singapore, I don't have.
What did this go from Singapore? You said it was not for
That's a loan. It was on loan for an art. The dealers give this loans because then it creates good provenance and more value for their artifacts. So that's why museums have to be that much more diligent when they accept objects on loan, because in whether they know it or not, it is adding good provenance to a dubious object. Now this is another interesting one. This is another Somaskanda in the same Singapore museum. And because I travel a bit in Southeast Asia and you know flight timings, 45-minute flight you have to be there 2 hours early. So I tend to scan a lot of old books. So I came across this old book which was published in 1916. And it had one photograph and one reference to this bronze. Since then nobody has talked about this bronze. It's a small temple near Sri Perumbudur. It's called Sivan Kudal. And thanks again, one of our friends went there. It's a ruined temple, no bronzes, no sculptures, nothing available, but this bronze is a perfect match. So this was bought in the year 2000. The museum refuses to reveal the provenance. Who sold it to them?
This is also Asian civilization.
And despite us pushing the police to go and do inquiries, they returned saying it was lost during the king days. That's what they say. Raja Radha Dil Beta. But it was bought only in 2000. Anyway. So now a few more objects that we have spaced. So this is the US Customs displaying what is seized. So that's a match. So you have one at least safely in the US. But this was displayed in 2012. Till then we have not made an effort to bring them back. So these three, I'll just go rush out. So this is the Suttamali Nataraja. In a beautifully high resolution photograph on a sales brochure. 2 years after the idol wing put up the photograph that is missing. This brochure was published in 2011. So it matches everything. So sadly, there's a sad end to the story, which I will tell you after I show you the Uma. So you have her there. A masterpiece. What happened was, as soon as the current accused was caught in Germany, he managed to smuggle a handwritten note out to his sister in the US. The note read, "Hide the two dancers and consorts in the closet."
How did you dance second?
Consorts in the closet. And for the last 20 months, we have not been able to find them. So Suttamali Nataraja and Zuma, along with another Nataraja which I will show you, probably we will not see them again.
How we will see them again? Where will they go? They will all be rotated. 100 years later, we will see.
I said, that's why we will not see them. So what's interesting now is there is a move to close the case. So there are 3 cases registered against this person. one for Sri Purana, one for Suttamali, one for Vruddhachalam. Vruddhachalam has come back, Sri Purana, one has come back. So they want to close this with this Chandikeshwara. So all these three, one bronze will come back, close the case. But to me, this Chandikeshwara is not what we are looking for. Why? The clue is in the anklet. So this is the anklet that is there, which was from the original file. So it creates more problem. Not only have we not found our Chandikeshwara, we got another Chandikeshwara which has been looted, which has to be identified. All the black and white are printed. So like this we go each one. I'll just skip the Ashtadeva. This Subramanya is a slightly later period Subramanya, Vijayanagar period. So we've just kind of mapped. Now what you have to look at is, this side is all Suttamali, this side is all Sri Purana. And none of the museums bought anything here. The museums all bought it here.
Why is that?
Comes back to the pedestal inscription. Remember when you go to Saranabhavan, in the hotel, Saranabhavan, so the moment they say, they saw, that's why I say all these curators are complicit in this crime. When they look at two bronzes, because the robber doesn't know this is Sri Purana and Sri Suttamali. He collected all and he's put it for sale. In the shop, the guy who comes to buy looks at it, hey, there's something written there. No, could be a problem. Let's take the one with no title. So it gives us another clue. When you ask me how to stop this loot, you take all of them to Saranabhavan or Yapajiti Kadai and inscribe the pedestals. We are also searching for a lot more of these bronzes which are lost. Incidentally, this is another